Hey Embody, and welcome to Barre class. We're going to go through a full body signature routine, a mix of supportive and spicy movements for today's class. For class, something to hold on to, as well as if you have your Pilates ball, ring, and a set of light hand weights. Now we're switching things up a little bit, so I've included in the description of this video a link to a Spotify playlist that you can play along with me. That way we can groove to some really great popular music. You can also just play this video and just follow along to my cueing. So if you have the Spotify playlist pulled up, use the link. It's also called Barre 10 if you follow me on Spotify. So we're gonna step away from our bar, get nice and warmed up. I'm gonna go ahead and hit play on my music, and you should be starting off with a Whitney Houston song if you're joining in. So meet me away from your bar. Take a second to spread those toes wide, connect to that alignment, roll out those shoulders. Nice smooth circular movement through the shoulder. Inhales and exhales. Lift, roll, and melt down the back. Start to feel those shoulder blades moving as well. Finding your breath, connecting to our body. Two more. One more with me. Let's go for some arm sweeps next. Inhale, reach, and press. Focus on lengthening and decompressing through your spine, lifting up out of the hips. One more. Good, let's groove through those hips. Gentle sway and rock of the hips side to side. So we feel one hip bone slightly lifting, really starting to brace and activate through our center. Staying long in the low back, a little heaviness through the front of the rib cage. I'm soft in my knees, warming up through those knees as well. Maybe adding a little shoulder groove. Keep going with this. Finding our core, warming up. Last four. Moving into a little upper body, we're gonna reach up, up, side, side, up, side, side, up, side, side, up, side, side. I'm soft in my knees, moving a little through that rib cage. Almost like you're kind of flicking water off your hands. Feel your chest lifted and open, but just being mindful that we're not arcing back through that spine. Stay stacked right over those hips. Have fun with this one. Few more. Last two sets. Last set. Moving into our marches. You can hold onto your bar or maybe join me interlace fingers, marching one leg then the other whenever you're ready. Pelvis is quiet, marching the knee away from us up and forward, really zipping and bracing through those abs. As I march, noticing I'm not collapsing or moving my chest and spine, I'm staying lifted and stable, really bracing through that core. Arms are optional. Find that breath. Breathing, definitely not optional. Lengthening and pushing through our bottom foot, toes spread wide. Last few here. Let's go 4, 3, 2, 1. Going into our butt kicks. Wide feet, heel towards your seat, gentle weight transfer. You can add a little pull back through those elbows if you choose to. Really lengthen through the front of the hips, lifting those hip bones up in space, but again, keeping that rib cage heavy. Pulling those arms apart, drawing the shoulder blades together. You do not need to literally connect to that glute, just guide that foot towards it. Good, let's do one more each leg. Now, turn and join me facing your bar. Excuse me, aria. Moving into our foot pedals, find your core, one heel at a time, lift one, then the other. Pedaling out those feet, establishing really good alignment, honoring that gentle natural curve in our low back, but finding that lift and tightness through those low abs. Shoulders relaxed, chest open. Tracking those heels directly up in space, feeling all 10 toes anchored into our mat. Last few here. Breathing in and out. Let's pedal. 4, 3, 2, 1. Wiggle everything out. When you're ready, please grab your ball if you're choosing to use it today. Quick demo. You want the ball in between the lower portion of the leg, just above the ankle joint, walking the feet slightly in so there's a gentle pressure on the ball. We're gonna do slow elevates up and down. We'll be doing faster elevates up and down, keeping our body right in between two panes of glass. Then from there, choosing either to have the heels lifted or flat, you'll pull the hips back, and then you're gonna restack up to neutral, making sure that we don't shove that pelvis forward. Our final sequence is gonna be a lower lift of the heels, rising up and chair, pulling the hips back, bowing the chest forward. When you're ready, join me, smooth elevate up and down, straight up and down. Thinking about quality of movement. We're not locked in the knees are lengthened, and we're really trying to maintain that stability through our center. Gentle squeeze on the ball to keep that tracking so that we don't roll out to that pinky edge. Feeling all 10 toes, all 4 corners of the feet, feeling the glutes start to get involved as well, the hamstrings, backs of legs. If you're choosing to double time, lifting up, one or both hands on your bar, we're lifting and lowering those heels, lift them up and down. You can go back to the slower, or you can take this double time tempo. Up and down, lift and lower. Strong ankles and calves. Up and down. Last 2. Quick release. Take a nice bend, stretch through the knees. We're moving into the chair portion, so flat-footed or heel lift. We're gonna hinge the hips back. Here we go. Hinge into your chair, and then realign that pelvis. I'm thinking my abs and my glutes, bringing my body up. Imagine a string pulling and lengthening, slurping you up out of your chair pose. So we're never pushing those hips forward. We're lifting those hip bones up in space. Feel the front and back body working here. Remember, the heels do not need to stay lifted. Listen to your body, maybe choosing to lower those heels to flat feet. Feel the front and back of the core really working together here. 4 more like this. Breathe. Full body move. Last 2 chair pose. Let's meet in our last chair pose and hold. We're gonna lower and lift those heels. We lower and lift, lower and lift, down and up. Keeping that alignment. You've got 4, 3, 2, lower the heels down an inch with that seat. Little down. You can take your arms off of your bar if you choose to. Remember, think about maintaining that flatness through that spine, pulling those hips back, keeping all 4 corners of the feet. Down and up. Continuing here, and then we'll finish out with that combo. The combo will be a lift lower of the heels and a rise of the body back into chair. Last 2. Stay down, lift and lower those heels. Heels go up, down, you come up, you go back down. We go lift, lower, rise, and chair. Lift, lower. If it's too much to lift those heels, just do the tall body and chair. Tall body, chair. Lift, lower. Push the ground away. Last 2. Last time. Let's rise, maybe lifting those heels, find that center. Maybe trying a balance, one arm overhead, maybe both, holding here, holding 4. You can always grab back to that support, 2 and 1. Nice work. Let's take that ball out, set it back to the side. Join me in a quick calf stretch. Before we move into our next sequence, we're gonna take one of our signature exercises, our Ranajam 2 pulses, but we're adding in a back body element. So really quick, Rondage 2 pulses is a low side extension of the leg. You're gonna bring it to the back for 2, take 2 pulses to the back, you're bringing it to the side for 2, and taking 2 pulses. If you'd like to add the back body element, as the leg comes to the back, you're gonna bow into your penché, 2 pulses. As the leg comes to the side, you restack that body up. So it's that same front back body connection. It is optional to add the penché. Do what feels best to your body. Please face your bar, or you can take one hand on the bar depending on your setup. Soft knees, zipped abs, one leg to the side. We're gonna carve that leg to the back. Carve it to the back, maybe bow. 2 pulses to the back, carve it to the side, maybe restack, pulse. We go back, pulse, pulse, and side. I'm on a slightly soft standing knee just to support that joint, and I'm really focusing on keeping my hips square forward like 2 headlights of a car. Not lifting my legs super high, trying to reach it out of that hip and get longer and stronger through that center as we move. Think about that length, strength, and grace in your body. Finding your flow, finding your power, really using that standing glute here. Lots of core as well. Reach, reach, carve, and reach, reach. Long leg side. As we restack and bow, keep both sides of the waist equal. So we're not shortening into one of our side body. Both side bodies stay long here. To the back. Reach, reach. One more side and reach. Let's stay to the back, little up an inch, down an inch, little lift and lower. Slurp those abs up and in, and think about creating the same diagonal through your spine as your leg here. Pulling that rib cage up and in as well, rolling those shoulders back and down. Long. Precision of your movement. Can you really drive the lift of the leg from the glute versus the low back? 4. Using that breath. Let's do 8 tiny pulses. Reach it. 8, 7, 6, 4, 3. Reach and hold, long and strong. 4, 3. Working our stability. 2, and 1. Wiggle out those hips. Let's walk away from our support. Pull those hips back. Bow that chest. Maybe rocking those hips a little side to side. We're gonna move into a version of our second position next, so please join me with one hand on your bar. You're gonna take a gentle external rotation through those hips. Focus on the inner thighs lifting you up by pushing down through your feet. Whenever you're ready, join me in soft, smooth pliés, melting down and rising. So we're just thinking about relax, activate, melt and rise, pushing through the feet to zip through the inner thigh center, feeling the spiraling to the glutes at the back of the hips, and nice and stable and lengthened through our center. Breathe. 2 more. Stay down, up an inch, down an inch, little lift and lower. Maintaining a soft tracking knee and watching what our rib cage is doing, keeping the front of that rib cage heavy, bracing through our center. 2 more. 2. Lift and lower one heel, gentle lift up and down, switching feet, other heel, gentle lift, feeling the toes stay anchored, controlling that lift, gentle lift and lower, up and down, lift and lower. 4 more, alternating. 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's rise, zip and reset, moving into side bends, up and over, restack. Driving from our core, moving from our rib cage here, lifting up and over, maintaining length in our low back and quietness through that pelvis. No movement through those hips. Long, relaxed neck, soft through our jaw. Stay over, reach a little deeper, little reach, back out of it. So I'm contracting through my side body, but not collapsing through that side body. Up and over. Really sliding this shoulder blade and shoulder down my back, using my whole entire core to arc over like a crescent moon. Grounding through my feet. Up and over. Up and over. 4 more. Up and over. One of my all-time favorite moves. Let's meet in our grand plie. For our hold, you can choose to lift one heel, both heels, or no heels. Choosing one arm to fifth, maybe both, maybe not. Holding for 4. Find the stability through your center. Last 2 and 1. Please take a moment to shake and stretch. I almost combined those 2 words together. So maybe a quad stretch, maybe a figure 4. Take a nice deep breath in and out. We're gonna take our bar to the other side. So you're just gonna make sure that you flip yourself around, move the camera, move your chair, whatever you need to do to reset. Alrighty, we're gonna go back into our elevates. This time, to switch it up, we're gonna place the ball, if you're choosing to use it, in the inner thighs. So versus the ankles, now inner thighs. This will take your stance a little bit wider, finding that center, facing the bar or one hand, toes spread wide, slow elevates. Lifting for 2 and down for 2. Think about the whole body lengthening as you lift those heels. Up for 2, down for 2, up for 2. Never popping the heels, controlling, feeling the connection into our powers, into our pelvic floor. Down. Let's go a little faster if you choose, lowering and lifting. So same idea, not popping, controlling, and noticing I'm not rocking forward and back. I'm trying to go directly down and up in space, directly down and up. Lower and lift. Strengthening and mobilizing through our feet, one of the best things we can do for our overall body health. 4 more. Let's go 4, 3, 2, 1. Take a second, reset. Flat-footed or elevate. You're gonna chair, sit back, and then you're gonna lengthen the body up. Heels lifted or flat. Hinging and restacking. So keeping a gentle squeeze on the ball, especially as we rise, but again, try to lift the hip bones up versus pressing them forward. Noticing that I'm not arcing back. I'm really using that slurping through my center to align. So I feel this kind of deflating balloon sensation through my whole core. Down and up. 2 more. Let's meet in our chair, heels lifted or flat, down an inch with your hips. Chair, sit. Squeezing that ball, thinking about pulling those hips back like you're sitting into a low chair, and noticing I'm trying to keep my spine long and flat. I'm never curved in that spine. 4 more. 4. My legs are starting to shake a little bit. 2. Little squeezes of your ball. I'm choosing to lower my heels, listening to my body, and I'm pressing that ball, not just from my inner thighs, but from my core and glutes. Squeeze. As deep down into this chair that is comfortable for you, you can also take it higher up. Slight hinge of the hips. Squeeze, squeeze. 4 more squeezes. 4, 3, squeeze and hold. Maybe sinking an inch lower down, taking our balance at the bottom on this side. You can take one arm overhead, maybe both, holding for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Taking the ball out, setting it down, maybe joining me in a figure 4 stretch. I'm crossing one leg over the top of my thigh, pulling my hips back, making sure we stretch out both sides. We don't want to take super long stretches in the class itself because we don't want to lose the power in the muscle. So just a quick breath in and out. We're moving into that rond de jambe 2 pulses. So please make sure you're using your opposite leg. I, for example, did left leg first, so now it's gonna be my right leg that's moving. So opposite leg. Remember, we're gonna hinge and restack as an option. You're gonna start with your leg to the side, a tiny bend through that standing knee. Getting ready. When you're ready, bring your leg to the back. Bow the chest, leg to the back, pulse. Pulse, leg to the side, restack the body, and pulse. Pulse, to the back, and reach, reach. Restacking, pulse, pulse. Carving. Think about length and alignment through this sequence. Hips, ribs, shoulders. Driving from the glutes, from the core. Soft and open through the throat, relax through that jaw. The moving leg hip is gonna wanna start to spin open, really anchor it forward, especially as your leg goes to the back. We always wanna think about kind of opposition with our movement. So as the leg goes to the back, I reach that hip bone forward, even though it's pulling back in space, sending that energy to maintain that alignment. Leg to the back. Not about how high you can lift it, how long can you make your leg and spine. Home stretch. Carving to the side. Now meet me with your leg to the back, little up and inch. Square off your hips and slurp those muscles right inside your hip bones. Using the power of that standing glute, making sure we're not collapsing into that standing hip, pulling up through those ribs as well. Little up and down. Up, home stretch here. Not from the low back, from that glute power. 4, 3, 2. Now 8 little pulses up. Pulse it, 8, 7, home stretch here. You've got 4, 3. Reach and hold, holding for 4, holding 3, holding 2, and 1. Wiggle out those hips, maybe a flat back, maybe a figure 4. Take a second and then we'll get ready for our second position. Alrighty, so you're gonna meet me in that wide second position, spiraling through those legs, finding that kind of slurping through our center, nice soft plies. Plie and rise. Feel the ease of the joints. Really try to push the ground away and zip through those inner thighs. Rolling the shoulders gently back without losing that heavy rib cage. That's the hard part. Flow and breathe with me. Can we really feel like the inner thighs are magnetizing together, almost like the ball is in between your legs and you're trying to pop that ball as you lift. Feeling the backs and fronts of the legs working 50-50. Now from here, come down with me. Little up an inch, down an inch. If you're feeling load in those knees, maybe widening that stance, find the wideness that feels supportive to your body. Gentle rotation. We don't need to point our knees directly out to the side, tracking over those toes. Maybe lifting alternating heels. One heel, then the other. If that arm, shoulder, or neck is getting tired, you can always choose to take it to your hip. Lift and lower, carving with smooth, powerful, graceful movements here. Full body work. Good, keep breathing. We've got 4 more heel lifts. 4, 3, 2, 1. Rising up, recentering, side bends over. Up and over, always fighting for that lift out of our hips and low back, contracting through that side body, but not collapsing through that side body. Arcing that shoulder blade upwards and downwards, crescent moon arc. Breathing here as we elevate that heart rate, working through that core. 4, 3, 2, staying over, little reaches. Really ground through the feet and try to really spice into that side body here. Up and over, feeling one side of the body contract, the other side of the body lengthen. Soft through the top of that shoulder. Focus on your precision of engagement, mind to muscle. You've got 4, 3, 2, Now come into your plie for your balance. You can stay flat-footed. You can choose to lift one heel, both heels. You can choose one arm to fifth or both, or holding on. Find your center powerhouse, holding here long and strong. 4, 3, 2, relax. Shake out those legs. Maybe move into a quick quad calf stretch, flat back figure 4. This is a good time to grab some water because we are transitioning away from our bar for upper body. So I'm gonna get my bar out of my way. Hopefully that wasn't too loud on the microphone. Please grab some water. And then whenever you're ready, you're gonna pick up your light hand weights if you're choosing to use them. You should be on the song Seven Nation Army. So if you're not, just go ahead and tap that song for me, just so we're kind of in the same place in the playlist. We're gonna start with some bicep curls, but I would love for the arms to be away from the body. So whenever you're ready, join me in some bicep curls with the upper arm reaching forward to kind of a V position. So we're soft in the top of the shoulder, but we're adding a little bit more load to the bicep because we're pulling those arms away from the body. Knowing that keeping the elbows by the sides is also a great choice here. That's gonna be a more supportive choice. So you choose spicy or supportive according to how you feel today. Every day in your body is different. In and out. Hanging out here for a little longer. Please just make sure we don't lock or hyperextend the elbow as we extend. In and out. Using and bracing through our core to stay stable. 4, more than a quick release. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Quick release. Roll out those shoulders. Going into our rotator cuff, keeping our elbows tight by our sides, spiraling the hands, spiraling out and closing in. Really trying to keep the upper arm glued to our side body, but feeling that external spiral through the shoulder. So like a corkscrew. Feeling the activation through our mid back here. Letting those shoulder blades glide together and melt apart. Few more here. One of our most important moves, one of our most important groups of muscles to strengthen and mobilize our rotator cuff. Now meet me with your arms out to the side. They can be slightly in front. Reach to a T. We reach T, we plie in. Reach and carve in. Trying not to go higher than shoulder height. And again, trying to keep the top of the shoulder soft, pushing those weights away like you're pulling those arms apart. Reach and in, out and in, out and dragging. Keep going, out and in, out and in. 2 more, 2 and 1. Quick release. You're gonna meet me in your goal post next, closing the elbows in and bringing them out to the side. We come in and out. You do not need to go at the same speed or range as me. You can slow this down. You can also lessen that range to make this a little bit more supportive. We want to feel smoothness through the shoulders and shoulder blades here. So find a range and speed where you're able to move smoothly. Really, really important to protect our shoulders. We've got 4, 3, 2, meet me with your elbows wide, pulling down an inch, up, drag down, up, down. Try to really melt those shoulders down the back, connecting into that mid back, up, pull down, teeny tiny, like you're pulling 2 resistance bands off the ceiling. Little drag down, drag down. Last 4 here, 4, 3, 2, 1. Quick release. Moving into our back body. You can take a staggered hinge stance. You can take a wide hinge stance, hip width apart, whatever feels best to your body. You're gonna start with your arms in front, pulling the hips back, bowing the chest, pull the elbows back. We're gonna row and extend. Row. When we row, pull those shoulder blades together, but don't pop that rib cage. So we're keeping that slurp through our center. Dragging the weights up versus yanking those weights up. Find the degree of the bend that feels best to your body, engaging through the glutes to help support that low back. A few more here. Let's go 4 more. 4. Feel the connection to those shoulder blades. Now keep those elbows up, tricep kickbacks, back and in. Noticing I'm taking a fairly small range of motion, so I'm not coming all the way in. That's gonna be a little bit more challenging. So trying not to swing like this, trying to add resistance. So really smooth, small, precise range. Long neck, brace center. Really focus on the back of the shoulder, back of the arm. 4 more than a quick release. 4, 3, 2 more with me. Reach and hold, roll those shoulders back, hold 4, 3, 2, quick release, and then we're gonna finish up with a fun combo. So we're all gonna be a nice healthy hip width apart. You're gonna sit into a chair, tricep kickback, and then you're gonna rise and you're gonna shoot those arms in front of you and up overhead. So making sure we never go here. So kind of connecting to that previous exercise. When you're ready, tricep kickback. We kick it back and punch up. Kicking back. Really feel smooth in the joints, active in those muscles, fighting for that length. Nice. So flat back the whole time. Your squat down does not need to be as deep as mine. You can also change the wideness of your feet. Please just make sure you are a minimum of hip width apart here. And again, we're not bringing those weights behind us, slightly in front of the head. Really knitting and corseting that rib cage as we punch to our ceiling. Full body dynamic move. Up and down. Last few here. Breathing deeply with me. Last 2. 1 more. Nice work. We're gonna make our way down to our mat, but first let's stretch. I almost forgot, and it's very important to stretch. So stay standing with me. Shake out your fingers, your wrists, elbows, shoulders, and then float one arm up overhead. Make sure you put those weights down. Maybe a little soft bend to those knees, maybe tilting the body, gently arcing up and over to one side. Big breath. Switching sides when you're ready. Softness to the knees, gentle arc up and over. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Let's take one arm across the body, hooking the other arm underneath. Big breath in and out. Switching sides when you're ready. Soft shoulder, soft neck. One more stretch together. Let's interlace the fingers. Roll those shoulders back. You can keep the hands down by the tailbone or reach them gently away. Maybe lifting that gaze. One more deep breath. Let's make our way down to our mat, and you will need your ring and ball if you have them. Ring and ball. So setting our ring off to the side, excuse me, Miss Aria. We're gonna lay flat on our back, and we're starting with our ball in between the legs. In between the legs. Feet a comfortable distance into the pelvis, nice healthy hip width apart. Gentle squeeze on the ball. Arms long by the sides. If you don't have the ball, no worries, just take your bridging without it. I want you to lift your pelvis up into a bridge. Corset your center and drag your feet towards your glutes towards your feet without literally moving them, but really magnetize those two places. When you're ready, little down an inch of your hips is gonna be our next sequence here. It's very small and mindful. Thinking about the front and back of the core, and especially the glutes and hamstrings here. So no load on the head. That's where we want to continue to kind of guide the knees and hips forward towards the feet to keep the load out of the upper body. Arms are long and anchored by our sides. Chest is open. Rib cage is corseted in, down and up. Now full range all the way down. Lower the hips down and lift the hips back up. Down as you inhale, Exhale, trying to tap that tailbone a little bit closer towards your feet every time you lower. So there's just a sense of length as you lower. Lowering and hinging front and back. Make sure you brace those abdominals as you lift into that bridge. Inhales, exhales. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. Last few here. Breath and movement as one. Last two. One more. Lift and hold. Holding here, maybe adding a little squeeze on that ball, a little press. Press. Make sure you're in really good alignment. You can also take these ball squeezes with the hips down on the mat. If the bridging is a little too spicy at this point in class, lower those hips. Little squeeze on that ball. Squeeze that ball like you're trying to pop it. Using pelvic floor, inner thighs. Go 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, squeeze and hold. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Holding that squeeze. 4-second hold. 4, 3, 2, relaxing down. Nice work. Carefully taking the ball out, setting it to the side. Grab your ring with me. Let's place both feet into the ring. And then you can take a nice little bend stretch of the knees. You can hold stillness. You can flex point the feet, totally up to you. Let's try to honor that neutral pelvis if at all possible. So trying to find that small little space in our low back, making sure that we're keeping our weight towards the tailbone in terms of the back of the pelvis. Breathing into the hamstrings, the calves. Let's go single leg. So one leg into your ring, other leg can stretch or stay bent. You can take a little rock of that leg side to side, a little pull release. Circles are really nice for the hip and stretching. This is your time just to connect, lengthen, and stretch. Really, really important to balance our strength training with our flexibility training. Cannot emphasize how important that is for injury prevention and just for our body's functionality. One more big breath. Switching legs. One foot into the ring, other leg stretch long. Trying to keep our hip bones reasonably level, the waist long, the shoulders soft, overhand or underhand grip. Couple more deep breaths this leg. Invite some gentle movement, little dynamic stretch. One more big breath here. Nice. Let's set our ring off to the side. Grabbing our ball again if you have it. I would love for you to place the ball underneath your hips if that's in your practice. You can also take the sequence just with the hips flat down on the mat is also a great choice. So I'm aiming right to the base of my spine, centering my tailbone on the ball, slurping those abdominals, arms long by the sides. And let's meet in our tabletop, always lifting one leg at a time. When you are braced, secure, and ready for that core, start a bicycle ride with me. If you need more challenge, you can always bring those arms to a hover alongside you or up to your ceiling for an extra balance element. Knowing that the ball positioning may need to be adjusted as you move. You want to feel like your pelvis is reasonably stable on this ball, but the ball is adding an element of instability to work deeper into that core. You can bicycle more towards the ceiling for a more supportive choice, or bicycle lower to the ground for a spicier choice. We're feeling this in our core, never in our low back. Pushing the leg away from our glutes. Few more this direction. Please make sure you're breathing. When you're ready, reverse your bicycle ride. Push that leg away. Breathe and press that leg away from you. Heavy rib cage, open chest. Take any breaks you need and rejoin me. Please always listen to your body. One more each leg. Take a quick release, hugging the knees into the chest, moving to a little bit of a inner thigh and core combo. Legs will go straight up to the ceiling like two skyscrapers. You're gonna slowly open the legs out to a straddle and close them in together. We open and close, magnetizing the inner thighs back together. Trying to point our toes directly up to our ceiling as our home base position. So restacking those thigh bones right over those hip bones. Tighten through those lower abdominals, pelvic floor as you zip the legs. Opening, maybe challenging those legs to go a little bit wider. But again, never collapsing into that hip crease. So think about the thigh bone reaching out of the hip bones the whole entire time. We go open. Reaching long to close. Opening for 2. Closing for 2. 2 more at this tempo, and then we're gonna shorten the range and pick up the tempo, tapping the feet together. We go open and tap, open and tap. You can always soften the bend of the knees if you're feeling too much strain in the body. Take a little soft knee bend, magnetize those inner thighs towards one another. We're opening and closing, really strengthening the inner muscles of the hip, the groin, and the inner leg. Really, really important muscle group. Home stretch here. Opening, closing, opening, closing. Our last 4, open, close. Go 4, 3, last 2, and 1. Hugging those knees, stretching. Let's carefully place our feet down. I'm keeping my heels lifted so I have a little extra room to lift my hips, get the ball out of my way. I'm hugging one knee into my chest, stretching the other leg long for a moment. Nice release. And switching legs. We're gonna make our way up to seated for our final abdominal sequence. Carefully, safely make your way up to seated. If you're using your ball today, it's gonna go slightly tucked underneath the pelvis just so that it doesn't roll away from you. Another kind of bar hack is you can take a weight and place it behind, and that will kind of keep it from slatting away from you. You can hold on to the backs of the legs. You're gonna scoop and roll back into the ball, and then you use your core to roll up. If you're craving a little more spice, maybe holding onto that ring. Getting really tall through our center, rolling back for 2. Gentle scoop back and lifting up from the core, from the length. So thinking about that strength and length as you lift. Abs drive you back, and abs bring you up. Back for 2, and lifting for 2. Breathing with me, back for 2, and lift for 2. On this one, come back and hold. Little up an inch, down an inch. Little tiny lifting and lowering, keeping that scoop, keeping that lift through the chest. You can always hold on to those legs, and you don't need to lean as far back as me. Please listen to your body. You can also choose to stretch those legs long if you're feeling too grippy in those hip flexors, working into those abs. Up and down. Now slowly up, come all the way up really slow, maybe lift that ring, and going down, 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 slow up, slow motion move, and then rolling back with control. Again, knowing you always have options. Legs can be bent or stretched. You can hold onto those legs. You can lessen that range of motion. You can also do the sequence without the ball if you prefer. Make sure the abs start the scoop and the roll back into that ball. Few more here. Using that breath. We're gonna meet on our roll back. You can keep your ring or arms here. You can stay holding onto your legs, or you can choose to take that ring overhead. Fight for some scoop and length. 4-second hold. We hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice work. Carefully come on up. Final ab sequence for our obliques. You wanna carefully, mindfully lay back onto your ball. So it's in about the mid back. I like my feet a little wider for a nice base of support. And then you're just gonna think about lifting your chest up to the point where you feel your rib cage pull down towards your hips. So you're not laid back over the ball, you're curled up. From here, twisting to the right and coming through center. So you're lifting and twisting to the right and left side here. Little lift and twist. It's very, very small. Slight lift and twist. And then a little lean back into the ball, but again, not laying back, just pressing our body weight up and forward and slightly back in space, getting those obliques. Final sequence. Lift your chest up and spiral. Don't pull your head forward. Allow your head to stay heavy in your hands. So cradling the weight of the head, no load in that neck. I feel nothing in my neck because I'm holding my head in my fingertips. So my fingertips are carrying the weight of my skull here. Now from here, twist to the right, hold. Little tiny lifts and lowers. You are barely moving. I'm reaching towards my right thigh for 4, 3. Use the whole core. 2 and 1. Through center, spiral to the left. Teeny tiny lift. Barely moving, feeling this deep into our core. Your last 4, lift that chest. 3, 2, and 1. Nice work. You can, if you want, lay back over the ball. You can also get rid of the ball at this point of class and just lay down without it. I'm taking my legs long. I'm opening my elbows to a goal post position, feeling a really nice front of body stretch. Again, find the stretch and release that feels like the right choice for your body. I have really good news, guys. We have made it to cool down. So take one more big breath here. Please be very mindful, supporting our head, maybe rolling to one side. Get the ball and your props out of your way. You may want your ring handy for our stretching. And then if you are following along with the playlist, let's move into the song called Lovely Day. That's gonna be our first cool down song. So knowing you can always choose to sit up on 2 yoga blocks, feet any distance from your body, butterfly stretch. Bringing your body forward. At this point in class, if you're wanting to hold stillness, if you're wanting to sway, if you're wanting to rock forward and back, maybe closing those eyes. Hands can be wherever you want. Spine rounded or flat as you descend forward. Melting those hips into the mat. From here, let's lift our body tall, opening one leg out to the side. You want to lift out of those hips, grip really tall, and you're going to rainbow up and over. Taking a little flow here up out of it, up and over, maybe going a little bit deeper, but again, not collapsing into that spine or side body. Let's hold this last one. Reaching energy like laser beams out those fingertips. Using our core to lift through center and switching sides. So we're really trying to get right on top of those sitting bones. Keep this leg slightly in front of you. It's gonna be a little kinder to our low back and pelvis. Up and over. And restacking. 2 more with the sway. 1 more. Let's hold this one up and over. Crescent moon, rainbow arc, energy through those fingers. Breathe. Moving into a straddle, knowing that you can always keep the knees soft. You can use your ball or ring to support you. You can rock forward and back. Really try to relax the abs here. Relax the hips, the pelvic floor to help stretch those inner thighs. 1 more big melty breath with me. When you are ready, making our way into a forward fold. I personally like to use the ring for this, totally optional, but I'm hooking the ring over my feet, getting really tall up out of those hips, and I'm choosing to take a flat back forward, knowing that a rounded spine is also a great choice. If that's in your practice, I just get a little bit deeper stretch in my hamstrings. If I keep my back flat, my chest lifted, and pull that ring back in space. Big melty breaths here. 2 more deep breaths. 1 more. Let's set our props carefully to the side, swinging your feet around. Join me in all fours, knowing you can place the hands onto yoga blocks to unload the wrists. You can make fists. We're moving into some nice ooey gooey cat-cows. So when you're ready, carefully dropping the belly, lifting the gaze, creating a sense of openness through the front body, and then scooping and slurping those abdominals, gently curling the pelvis, doming the ribcage and shoulder blades. And just start to flow through these cat-cows at your own speed. Think about the muscles moving the bones and the joints gliding really smooth here. Deepen and slow down your breath with me. Let's do 1 more in each direction. 1 more cow, 1 more cat. Take your time. There's no rush. When you are ready, please meet me in a long neutral spine. We're going to go through a down dog. If you prefer to make your way up to standing a different way, knowing you always have that option. Lifting the toes, tucking them under, sending your hips up and back. I'm really trying to reach my hips to the back wall behind me. Melt my heart center and chest forward, maybe pedaling out those heels a little bit if that feels good. Letting the head be heavy, the spine be long. Guide both heels down towards the mat. They don't need to connect. Generous bend in the knees, a careful walk of feet to hands, hands to feet. Let your head be heavy. Inhaling to prepare, exhale with soft knees. Scoop the abs, roll the body up to a standing position. When you are ready, turn face me, wide feet, open chest, slow motion arm sweeps. Inhale, float the arms and body up. Exhale, let it all go. 2 more, soft and floaty. 1 more, let's connect our hands on this one. Bend the elbows and draw through heart center. Pausing for a moment of stillness and gratitude with me. Just taking a moment to give yourself a thank you for taking time out of your day to move and care for your body. Nice work, guys. Awesome, awesome job. I really hope you enjoyed this barre class. Please leave some comments below. I would love any feedback you have. And I'll see you in the next one. Have a great rest of your day.